Today we're looking at the Articles of Confederation. Hello, welcome to the Daily Bellringer. Please don't forget to subscribe and take a look at the questions down in the description. Also be sure to check out the worksheet that goes along with this video. The Articles of Confederation was the first constitution of the United States. Before the constitution that we have today, which by the way is the oldest constitution currently in use in the world, which is a testament to the writing of the document itself, but before the current constitution was written in 1787, the United States of America operated under the Articles of Confederation. The Articles of Confederation were written in 1777, shortly after America had declared independence in 1776, but the Articles were not ratified or approved until 1781. A big reason it took so long to approve the Articles was that you have to remember, up until that point, the colonies had basically operated as their own little independent states, or independent countries, I guess you would say, and they were fearful of giving up power to a central government, which is what the Articles of Confederation were setting up. And you also have to consider that the United States was fighting a war to get out from under the control of a king, which is about as centralized a government as you can have. But as far as the document itself, there were actually 6 different drafts of the Articles of Confederation, with the earliest draft being written by Benjamin Franklin back in 1775. Now, if you recall, this was not the first time Franklin had proposed a central government for the colonies. Back in 1754, just as the French and Indian War was getting underway, Benjamin Franklin had proposed his Albany Plan of Union to create a central government for the colonies. But it was rejected, and Franklin ended up moving to London for the next 20 years because he was so upset about it being rejected. But here again, Franklin's draft of the Articles didn't even really get any serious consideration from the Continental Congress. It's actually John Dickinson of Pennsylvania that writes 4 different drafts, and his final draft is accepted as the foundation for the new government to be formed. And before I get into the Articles themselves, I just want to say I don't want to simply bash the Articles, because you'll find out there were some serious problems with the Articles, but there were some significant accomplishments that the nation achieved while under the Articles of Confederation. For one, the United States was successful in fighting a war with Britain and achieving full independence. However, the Articles did create many obstacles during the war itself. Also, we have the Northwest Ordinance, which organized areas such as Illinois, Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, and Wisconsin into territories and set them on a path to eventually becoming states. Then lastly, actually, we get the title of the United States of America from the Articles of Confederation. Now, how did the Articles organize the states, and what powers did the federal government have? Well, as far as the states, it was very vague as to the relationship between the states. Actually, what it said was the states had a firm league of friendship. So again, not very precise in their definition of state relationships. As far as powers given to the federal government could make treaties and alliances with other nations. Of course, this will come in handy at the end of the American Revolution as the U.S. and Britain are negotiating and signing the Treaty of Paris to end the war. Also, the federal government could maintain an armed forces, which again is another power crucial to conducting a war. Then lastly, the Articles gave the federal government the authority to coin or print money. But one thing to keep in mind, even though the federal government had these powers, the Articles set up what is known as a federal system, or a system where power is shared between the states and the federal government. Under the Articles, most of the power went to the individual states, again because they were fearful of a central government that was too powerful. So that's what the government could do, but honestly, history is focused more on what the government could not do under the Articles of Confederation. The biggest weakness of the Articles of Confederation was the fact that the federal government could not raise taxes. Now, I don't mean that Congress couldn't adjust tax rates up or down. I mean, they simply didn't have any method of collecting money to support the government. And most importantly, they couldn't raise funds to support the Continental Army during the war. They had to basically politely ask states to give funds to support the government. Furthermore, the government could not regulate or control foreign trade or require states to follow laws passed by the federal government. Another huge problem with the Articles was if they wanted to amend it or change the rules in the Articles, they had to get unanimous support. So basically all of the states had to agree, and that's nearly impossible to accomplish, so the Articles could not really be changed. Also, there was only one branch of government under the Articles of Confederation, the legislative branch. There was no executive or judicial branch, meaning there was no method of checks and balances or each branch keeping tabs on what the other part of the government was doing. point. All of these weaknesses began to culminate in the mid-1780s as the country began to realize they needed a new constitution, and especially after this big event known as Shays' Rebellion, which I'll cover in another video, they really begin to realize they need a new constitution. So with that, hopefully you learned something, and thanks for watching.